We now have less than a week to go until the 5 lights go out in Australia. So before that, let me present you with my predictions for the 2025 F1 season, where I will inevitably kick myself in the back at the end of the season. But that's what makes it fun, and we get to answer some interesting questions like which driver will be champion, which team will be champion, which driver will surprise, which driver will disappoint, will we see more nude Bottas calendars, and how many times will Ferrari screw up their strategy. Today I will be answering all these questions and more with my predictions. I'm Izzo, and let's get started. First of all, for Gits and Shakers, let's go over some of my bold predictions and nominate the drivers for it. And to start things off, it's the driver with the most penalties for cursing. For this we have some clear candidates like Yuki Tsunoda, Max Verstappen, and George Russell, if you count his second grade level bad words cursing. But I have gone for someone a little bit different, and that is Charles Leclerc. He can get carried away when the moment gets heated, and there is no doubt things will get spicy at the top of the season. Next, we have how many mid-season driver swaps we will see in the coming season. Last season we saw a lot of action in the driver market during the season, and it's safe to say we will see at least one mid-season driver swap this season. In fact, we will see 3 of them. That is including extra driver swaps and reserve drivers stepping in for a race. Then we have the biggest surprise of the season, and my big surprise is Oliver Bearman to outperform Esteban Ocon. Not only outscore, but outperform. Those are 2 different things. With what we saw of the Bearman last season, I'm convinced he will be one of the top performing rookies in 2025. Of course, it doesn't help that he's in a Haas, but I think he's capable of putting the car in places higher than it should be. Let's go over the biggest disappointment of the season as well. I was originally gonna go for Lance Stroll, but then I realized I can't really be disappointed when you have 0 expectations for him. So instead, I have gone for Liam Lawson. Look, I know he's a well-talented driver, but the team being revolved around Max will not change this season. He will put up some good fights for the first 10 races, and then I expect a gradual decline from that point on. So now with the bold predictions done, let's go into the driver standings. And in 20th place, I have Isaac Hadjar. I'm sorry, somebody has to be last, and in this case, it's him. In 19th place, I have Jack Doohan. I don't really think anyone has big expectations for him, and I also think he will be a drop mid-season. Which means even though you are not racing, you are still in the standings because you participated in the first few races. 18th place is going to Gabriel Bortoleto. I do think he's a big talent, having won both F3 and F2 titles back to back, but I just don't see the Sauber car taking a big step forward from last year. 17th place is taken by Esteban Ocon. I do think him going to Haas is a slight downgrade, hence the low position. In 16th is the German driver Nico Hülkenberg. He's a class driver and he seems to be extra good when he's in an absolute tractor, but I think the car will just absolutely drag him down. 15th place, I have the rookie Oliver Bearman. 2 places higher than his teammate, and I believe he will be the rookie of the year. 14th place goes to Yuki Tsunoda. Will probably absolutely mop the floor with Isaac Hadjar, and potentially it's his last season with the Red Bull family. In 13th place is Pierre Gasly. Do think he will have 2 or 3 world-class performances in the season, which he tends to do. And in 12th place we have Lance Stroll. His starts to the season actually tend to be decent, but as soon as he's done with his home race, he just loses all interest in Formula 1 and just mentally taps out. In 11th, I have put Fernando Alonso. Now, before you click away from this video, I think Aston Martin will be one of the top teams in 2026. I just don't believe the changes they have made will see such quick results in 2025. 10th place goes to Alex Albon, and the Williams seems actually very quick this year, but I just think that the fight at the top will be so close that the Williams ends up being the best of the rest. Which means in 9th place I have Carlos Sainz. I genuinely believe him and Albon will be the closest pair this year. In fact, I will even go ahead and say that their gap between them will be less than 5 points. In 8th place I have put Kimi Antonelli. I do think Mercedes will be kinda up there with occasional podiums and wins, but at the end of the day it's his first season, therefore it will be a huge learning curve for him. Don't think he will win this season. In 7th place is Liam Lawson. He will undoubtedly do a better job than Checo, but with how competitive the top is shaping up to be, I think he will just be outside the fight, and I don't see him earning a win either. 6th place goes out to George Russell, one of the drivers I actually see putting up a fight for the championship this year. Will just fall off short from the rest of the drivers though. Still, I believe he will at least 2 wins this year. Now we go into the top 5. Potentially the top title contenders, and in 5th I have Oscar Piastri. McLaren do look very strong this year, and I also think Piastri will push Lando even more than he did last year, potentially winning some races over him. The gap between the Papaya drivers will be close. It will definitely be something to look out for. Placed in 4th is Lewis Hamilton. Look, to the Hamilton fans, yes, he is 4th, but he won't be much far back. In fact, I predict the top 5 drivers to finish within 100 points of the leader. He will definitely win races, potentially winning a Silverstone in Hungary and of course many more. And what he will impress us with the most is his consistency, and that is the most needed thing when you are up there fighting for the title. Then we have the top 3, and in 3rd place I actually put Max Verstappen. Look, we know that even if his car is not there at the top, he is able to extract every part of it. He's a generational driver, will put up a strong fight, but I just think the Red Bull won't be as strong as McLaren and Ferrari. So his title win streak will end this year, but don't think this will be the end. He has the ability to win at least one more, and I think that is coming up with the new regulations. Which means now it's time for the runner-up, and I have gone for Lando Norris. Look, do I think ability-wise he is a better driver than Max? Of course not. But from the stuff we've seen in testing, McLaren seem to have mastered the ground effect cars, and with all the experience Lando collected from last year fighting at the front, Lando will have improved on that skill, which he clearly was lacking last season. I do actually think McLaren and Lando will be championship leaders for the first half of the season, but towards the end I think someone will catch up to them and snatch that win from them. And that someone is Charles Leclerc. Look, if not now, then when? This year feels like the biggest opportunity for him at a shot at the title since 2022. I know Ferrari believes in him, and by no means does he lack the pace and the talent for that. He was arguably the second best driver last season, and we know that if the car is given, he can fight at the top. He has had terrible luck in the last few years, and I hope this year he will really bring out all the things he has learned from those years and show us he is worthy of a title. There's my Drivers' Champion, but who have I picked for the Constructors' Champion? It's Ferrari. Again, if not now, then when? It was very close last season. It came down to the last race, which I think will be the case again, only this time with the prancing horse coming out on top. Ferrari really seemed to start the season decent and for some reason dip mid-season and have a really strong end to the season. I think the second part of the season is really when Ferrari is gonna start cooking and catch up and dethrone the reigning champions. Well, there are the 2 championships done, but there is one more standing that is even more important than those 2, and that is Grill the Grid. For this one, there are also many contenders. Albon is often decent, Max's competitive nature takes over and also does very well. But I think at the end, the driver to come out on top will be Oscar Piastri. Just look out for him, it's gonna happen. That is the end of my 2025 F1 predictions. What do you think? Is there anything you disagree about? Let me know of your predictions down in the comments. I've been Azal, and thanks for watching.